We are riders on the storm, an engineered global financial collapse out of which the social engineers want to create a collectivist eugenics world government. Stewart Rhodes is our guest. The reason I wanted to get Stewart on a few days ago, and we have him now, is because I saw your press release at Oath Keepers. We posted it at Infowars.com as well, but it was also at oathkeepers.net, where the king of Quartzsite, the police chief, who with the council fired the mayor and most of the police, has declared you and others as terrorists.
Yeah, he did. He referred to us. We're holding a rally on August 27th there in support of the Quartzsite 10, the 10 stand-up police officers who refused his unlawful orders and blew the whistle on him. And he responded to that by saying that Sons of Liberty riders, Oath Keepers, and the Tea Party of Phoenix are he referred to us as domestic terrorists. And he said he called the FBI to report us. And this is something he's been using in his playbook now for many months, trying to scare people by raising the specter of the Gifford shooting and making allegations that people in town who are liberty freedom fighters are the same mindset as the shooter there, or the same mindset as someone who would use violence. And so if you stand up for your rights and participate in local government and clean out the Good Old Boy network, this is how they're going to respond. And like you said, it's a microcosm of what's going to happen across the country, and already is.
I mean, it's incredible that at a city council meeting in front of witnesses, he would say that now people's First Amendment is a terrorist action.
Well, that's what they do. They demonize. This is the same playbook as the ADL and Southern Poverty Law Center and DHS, which Southern Poverty Law Center, is now part of. They're on the advisory panel for DHS, is to, make allegations that people who talk that way are just one blow-up away from a mass shooting or using bombs and things like that. And now you see Biden and other politicians making references to the Tea Party movement as being terrorist or like terrorists, and references to, making analogies with Al-Qaeda. This is what they're doing, is saying that anybody who holds these viewpoints, anybody who's a constitutionalist or quotes the Founding Fathers, or anybody who dares to get involved in local politics and want to clean up corruption is potentially dangerous.
Well, that's the new rollout, Stewart, and I guarantee you, I've seen this rollout now in the last year intensifying. They're intensifying it ahead of staging events or provocateuring them to blame on us and then to have a big national guilt fest. Do you agree that these are frightening storm clouds?
Oh, absolutely. And this is the problem with the economic collapse around the corner, is that, if we're unprepared, they're going to capitalize on the social disruptions and the riots, and they'll use that as an excuse for declaring martial law. And their answer is always, with a set-aside normal procedure. Even in this town council, they declare a state of emergency, and so they have to stop having public meetings in total violation of state law, the open meetings law. They started having closed meetings to stymie, the scrutiny. They didn't want to have spotlights put on them, so they declare a trumped-up emergency, and they use that as an excuse to circumvent, your due process rights and your rights under the Constitution. And the same will happen after an economic collapse. They won't say, oh, it's our fault, we screwed up, we printed too much money, and we're to blame. Instead, just like they blamed S&P for the downgrade, don't blame the riots on you pesky constitutionalists out there who are interfering with the National Guard and FEMA and NORTHCOM doing their job. So you people need to shut up, disarm, like in Katrina, and just get in line for the camps.
Absolutely. Stewart, do 5 more minutes with us, and then we are going to get into some of the other financial news, and then Mark Moreno with some good news is joining us. I've been talking all day about Brits need to get out and buy as many aluminum baseball bats or wooden baseball bats as they can, and Drudge Report, always on target. I bet Drudge is listening. He's smarter than I am in a lot of ways. I bet he thought of it himself, too, but went and checked Amazon, and sure enough, movers and shakers in sports and leisure, little collapsible nightsticks are up in sales to the #1 sales item in sports to 7,229 times. So its ranking is up 7,000 29 times from what it was. Number 2 is a aluminum baseball bat, silver, 60 centimeters. It's up 5,690%. Number 3, a wooden baseball bat. I agree the aluminum's better, not going to break, but you could put nails in the wooden one. Midwest American ash wooden baseball bat, RRP. See, folks, you can have a hammer in your car, even in places like New York where victims are disarmed, or a baseball bat. It's, you know, you're playing baseball, you're driving nails. Bronx 32-inch wooden baseball bat, 3,734% up. Then next is a Raleigh folding work stand and a tent. But I tell you, Stewart, that is the answer. Can you imagine being the poor Brits, not being able to have a gun while the looters set fire to people's businesses and homes and women are jumping out of the tops of buildings? I mean, I'm sorry, setting fires to buildings is a terrorist action, and those people need to be shot. I mean, isn't that legal and lawful if somebody's setting your house on fire that you shoot them?
Oh, I think so. Well, if it's a threat to life, absolutely. You can stop them from burning you to death. You bet.
But I mean, look at these poor domesticated people in England at the mercy of scum.
Well, that's the problem with relying on hand tools is you're relying on youth and strength too. So if you're some old lady, how is she going to use a baseball bat against some young thug? It's going to be much more difficult. She needs a gun. So
she does, and women need guns.
Well, yeah, that's the whole point of firearms is they take out the equation of physical strength. Otherwise, it's the guy that can hold the heaviest shield and the heaviest broadsword. That's who's going to prevail. You know, youth and strength and skill, will overcome age. So the old folks better get crafty. They better start thinking and planning and using force multipliers.
Well, who do criminals target? They love to target the old.
Or the very young, or the very weak. You know, smaller frame females in particular. So, folks there will do what they should be doing. They'll start banding together to counteract the thugs. And I think that you'll see, ad hoc militias being formed in England. And at least I hope so. I hope they haven't been so
gilded.
Gilded, there you go. I hope they haven't been so gilded that they have no concept of how to do that. So hopefully they'll rediscover.
Well, no, it's confirmed, and the police don't like it, by the way. I was looking it up during the break, that the shop owners and communities are banding together with the baseball bats and things, and the police are telling them that's not good. They need to just let themselves be raped and killed and their houses and businesses burned down, Stewart.
Yeah, well, England's where we're going. It's a hyper state with you got hyper criminals on one side, the hyper state on the other side, and in the middle are totally gelded, emaciated, evilly. It's like out of the movie, what was it called, The Time Machine, where they just sit around and let each other drown and let each other be eaten. By some strange twist of fate, we the Eloi had become the prey and the Morlocks the masters. Exactly. So that's what they want. And so look, and people who want security are going to turn to the hyperstate. They want you to turn to the hyperstate. They want you to think that your only way of being saved from living out a 28 days later or a Mega Man scenario is to have a police state. That's their solution. It creates a problem, as you've always said for many years.
Tell you what, restate that for everybody. When we come back, then we'll let Stewart go, get into some more news.